Welcome to this deep dive, into the fascinating world of respiration.
Yeah.
We're going beyond just breathing and, exploring the physiology of it all,
Right.
how our bodies, take in oxygen and get rid of carbon dioxide.
hmm
Our guide is a physiology handout by Dr. Rasha Eldeeb, a leading expert in the field.
Sounds good.
Get ready to uncover the inner workings of your lungs,
Okay.
those intricate networks of airways and blood vessels that fuel your body.
You might be surprised to learn that respiration happens on two levels.
Oh,
External, which is the breathing we're all familiar with,
okay.
and internal, which occurs at the cellular level.
So there's more to it than just inhaling and exhaling.
Exactly. Internal respiration is where the real magic happens.
Hmm.
It's where oxygen is used to produce energy and carbon dioxide is generated as a waste product.
Okay.
Think of it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Food plus oxygen equals energy, carbon dioxide, and water.
I like that.
Breathing is intimately connected to how our bodies create energy and get rid of waste.
That's a great way to put it. It makes you realize how crucial respiration is for every single cell in our bodies.
It is.
So who are the key players in this intricate performance?
The lungs are the stars of the show when it comes to gas exchange,
Mm.
but they need a supporting cast.
Okay.
The thoracic wall and respiratory muscles act as the pump driving air in and out.
So it's a team effort.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Imagine your lungs as a bustling airport.
Right?
You have ventilation, the airflow,
Mm-hmm.
and perfusion, the blood flow,
Okay.
both working in sync for optimal performance.
Makes sense.
For this to work efficiently,
Yeah.
they need to be perfectly coordinated, just like air traffic control at a busy airport.
I see.
Here's a surprising fact.
Okay.
Air flows through our lungs at about 4 liters per minute,
Wow.
while blood flows through at 5 liters per minute.
Wow, I had no idea there was so much going on in there.
It's busy in there.
Dr. Eldeeb outlines 4 essential processes for respiration.
Okay.
The first is pulmonary ventilation, which we've just touched on. What are the other 3 processes?
The next is gas exchange.
Okay.
This is where oxygen and carbon dioxide diffuse between the alveoli, those tiny air sacs in the lungs, and the blood.
Gotcha.
This is external respiration in action.
So it's all about that exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide.
That's right. At rest, we inspire about 250 milliliters of oxygen per minute
Okay.
and expire around 200 milliliters of carbon dioxide.
Wow.
But what's really fascinating is that after this exchange, the process continues at the cellular level with internal respiration.
Uh-huh.
That's the exchange of gases between the blood and the tissues throughout the body.
So it's a continuous delivery system ensuring that our cells receive the oxygen they need
That's right.
and get rid of the carbon dioxide. It's incredible how everything is so interconnected.
It is.
But Dr. Eldeeb also mentions that our lungs do so much more than just breathing.
Right.
What else are they up to?
Our lungs are true multitaskers.
Okay.
They play a crucial role in defending our bodies from those pesky invaders we breathe in every day.
Wait, our lungs are part of our immune system.
Absolutely. Think about it. Our lungs are constantly exposed to the outside world,
Yeah,
so they need a strong defense system.
that's true.
It starts with those nasal hairs and mucus-trapping particles before they even reach the lungs.
Okay, that makes sense. But what if those invaders get past our first line of defense?
Then we have our reflexes ready to go sneezing and coughing.
Oh, yeah.
These are powerful expulsions that help clear our airways.
Okay.
And if those invaders manage to make it deeper, our airways are lined with tiny hair-like structures called cilia.
I've heard of cilia. They're those little things that move, right?
Exactly. They're in constant motion, beating rhythmically to push particles out of our lungs.
Ah,
Think of them like miniature escalators, moving those unwanted particles upwards and out at an impressive speed of 16 millimeters per minute.
yeah, wow, they're really working hard. But what about those really stubborn invaders that reach the alveoli?
Don't worry, we've got backup. Macrophages, sometimes called the Pac-Man cells of the lungs, come to the rescue. These specialized cells engulf and destroy any invaders that reach the alveoli.
So it's like a whole army down there fighting to keep our lungs healthy. That's pretty amazing. But what about that air conditioning function you mentioned earlier?
Right.
How do our lungs manage that?
The extensive blood supply in our airways plays a key role in regulating the temperature and humidity of the air we breathe,
Okay.
making it ideal for gas exchange.
I see.
It ensures that the air reaching the alveoli is just right, not too hot, not too cold, and with the right amount of moisture.
So our lungs are like a high-tech climate control system,
Pretty much.
constantly working to maintain the perfect environment for those delicate alveoli.
Precisely. But that's not all. Get ready for this.
Okay.
Our lungs are also unexpected chemical factories.
Our lungs are chemical factories. This is getting more and more interesting.
It is.
What kind of chemicals are we talking about?
They secrete substances like prostaglandins and histamine.
Prostaglandins and histamine. Those names ring a bell. What exactly do they do?
Well, they're both signaling molecules involved in a wide range of bodily functions,
Oh?
including inflammation, blood flow regulation, and even pain perception.
Interesting.
They're essential for keeping things running smoothly.
So our lungs are involved in all of that. It's amazing how much they do behind the scenes. What else goes on in these lung factories?
They also filter substances from the blood,
Like what?
including noradrenaline, prostaglandins, and serotonin, regulating their levels in our bodies.
Wow.
They even activate angiotensin II, which is involved in blood pressure control.
Whoa, blood pressure control too. Our lungs are like the ultimate multitaskers.
They really are.
Wow.
And they also play a role in the fibrinolytic system,
Okay.
which helps to break down blood clots, ensuring smooth pulmonary circulation.
Okay, that's crucial. We definitely don't want any blood clots in our lungs.
Right.
So we've talked about breathing and gas exchange and now all these other incredible functions.
Yeah.
Let's take a closer look at the airways themselves.
Oh.
They're like the intricate network of roads leading to those alveoli.
You're right. It's a fascinating journey through the airways,
Mhm.
from the nose all the way down to those 300 million alveoli.
Wow.
And get this, it's a journey with 23 divisions of the airways between the trachea and the alveoli.
23 divisions. That's incredible. It sounds like a complex network.
It is. Think of it like a branching tree with smaller and smaller airways leading to the final destination, the alveoli.
Okay.
And these divisions aren't just random. The first 16 divisions up to the terminal bronchioles form what's called the conducting zone.
Okay.
This zone is like the logistics team.
Mm-hmm.
It's responsible for transporting air and performing that air conditioning function we discussed earlier.
So it's all about keeping the air flowing smoothly and at the right temperature.
Exactly. Then we have the remaining 7 divisions,
Okay.
which form the respiratory zone.
Okay.
This is where the real action happens, the exchange of gases with the blood.
Okay, so we've got the conducting zone and the respiratory zone, each with its own important job. But we can't forget about the alveoli themselves.
Right.
They're the stars of the show when it comes to gas exchange. And you said there are 300 million of them.
That's right. All those tiny air sacs create a massive surface area for gas exchange,
Wow.
about 70 to 100 square meters.
Really?
That's roughly the size of a tennis court.
Wow. A tennis court worth of surface area packed into our lungs. That's mind-blowing.
And it's this vast surface area that allows for efficient gas exchange, providing our bodies with the oxygen they need.
I see.
But the alveoli aren't just empty sacs. They're lined with different types of cells,
Okay.
each with its own specialized function.
Okay, tell me about these alveolar cells. What are they doing down there?
Well, you have type I cells, which are thin and form the primary lining of the alveoli.
Mm-hmm.
They're the gatekeepers, allowing for the easy diffusion of gases between the air and the blood.
Okay.
Then you have type 2 cells.
Okay.
These are thicker and have these interesting inclusion bodies.
Uh-huh.
They're the ones responsible for producing a substance called surfactant.
Surfactant. That sounds familiar.
It plays a vital role in keeping the alveoli open and functioning properly.
Okay.
But we'll delve deeper into that in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, I'm intrigued. But before we move on, are there any other types of cells in the alveoli?
Besides type I and type 2 cells,
Yeah.
you also have macrophages, lymphocytes, mast cells, and plasma cells.
Huh.
It's a whole community of cells working together to keep our lungs healthy.
So it's like a bustling city down there.
Exactly. It's a truly remarkable system.
Okay.
Now let's talk about pulmonary circulation.
Okay.
This is the circulatory system that specifically serves the lungs,
Mm-hmm.
and it's quite different from the circulation in the rest of our body.
Okay, I'm ready to explore this unique landscape. What makes pulmonary circulation so different?
For starters, the pulmonary artery, unlike other arteries, carry up venous blood, which is low in oxygen.
Wait, venous blood in an artery? That seems counterintuitive.
I know, right? It's one of the things that makes pulmonary circulation so unique.
That's wild.
Another key difference is the pressure. The pressure in the pulmonary artery is much lower than in the systemic circulation,
Okay.
which is necessary to protect the delicate structure of the lungs.
So lower pressure is crucial for the lungs.
It is.
What else is going on in this unique circulatory system?
Blood flow in the lungs isn't uniform.
Uh-huh.
It's influenced by gravity and alveolar pressure, creating 3 distinct zones.
3 zones. Tell me more.
Imagine your lungs divided into 3 sections.
Okay.
Zone 1 is at the very top above the level of the heart.
Okay.
Here, because of gravity, there's very little blood flow.
I see.
Then you have zone 2 at the level of the heart where you get intermittent blood flow.
Okay.
Finally, there's zone 3, the lower part of the lungs.
Okay.
Because of gravity's pull, this area has continuous blood flow.
So the lower parts of the lungs get the most blood flow.
Exactly. And then there are the pulmonary arterioles.
Okay.
Unlike arterioles in the rest of the body, they constrict in response to hypoxia or low oxygen levels.
Why would they constrict when there's not enough oxygen? That seems counterproductive.
It's actually a clever mechanism.
Oh.
By constricting in areas with low oxygen, they divert blood to better ventilated areas of the lungs where there's more oxygen available.
Oh, that's
It's all about efficiency.
so smart.
And speaking of efficiency, the pulmonary veins also have a special feature.
What's that?
They are more distensible than other veins, meaning they can expand more easily to accommodate changes in blood volume.
So they act like elastic reservoir.
Exactly. And then we have the pulmonary capillaries, the tiny blood vessels that surround each alveolus,
Okay.
like a finely woven net, maximizing the surface area for gas exchange.
Gotcha.
The pressure within these capillaries is remarkably low, which is crucial for keeping the lungs dry.
Dry lungs. Why is that so important?
If the lungs were filled with fluid, it would be much harder for gases to diffuse.
Okay.
Keeping the lungs dry ensures that oxygen can easily get into the bloodstream and carbon dioxide can be removed efficiently.
That makes perfect sense. But Dr. Eldeeb mentioned something called a physiologic shunt.
Right.
What is that all about?
The physiologic shunt refers to the fact that not all of the blood that flows through the lungs actually gets oxygenated.
Oh.
A small amount bypasses the pulmonary capillaries and enters the left side of the heart directly.
So it's like a shortcut bypassing the lungs altogether?
Exactly. This means that a tiny bit of unoxygenated blood enters the systemic circulation, but it's a very small amount and doesn't significantly affect our overall oxygen levels.
Okay, that's reassuring. But it's still fascinating to learn about these little quirks of our circulatory system. Our lungs are truly remarkable organs.
They are.
We've learned so much about them already, from the basics of breathing to their roles in immunity, metabolism, and blood pressure control.
It's pretty amazing.
It is. It's amazing how much we've uncovered about the lungs, from their role in immunity to the intricate dance of gases during exchange.
It is a lot going on.
But in the last part, you were just starting to explain how our bodies know how much to breathe. That whole respiratory control system.
Yes. We were talking about how our brainstem acts as this incredible control center, constantly receiving information about our oxygen and carbon dioxide levels and the pH of our cerebrospinal fluid.
So it's like a conductor.
Yeah.
Orchestrating all the different elements of breathing to keep things running smoothly.
That's a great way to put it. And remember those chemoreceptors we talked about?
Yeah.
They're the key players in this system. They're like tiny sensors, constantly monitoring our blood and cerebrospinal fluid and sending signals back to the brainstem.
So if the chemoreceptors detect a change in, say, carbon dioxide levels, they'll alert the brainstem, and then the brainstem will adjust our breathing accordingly.
Exactly. It's a beautifully efficient feedback loop. Let's imagine you're exercising.
Okay.
As your muscles work harder, they produce more carbon dioxide.
Right.
This increase in carbon dioxide is detected by the chemoreceptors, which send a signal to the brainstem. The brainstem then sends signals to the muscles involved in breathing, telling them to work harder, increasing your breathing rate and depth.
So you start breathing faster and more deeply to get rid of that excess carbon dioxide and keep up with the demands of your muscles.
Right.
It's like your body knows exactly what to do to keep everything balanced.
It really is. And it all happens without us even having to think about it.
Yeah.
It's a testament to the incredible power of our autonomic nervous system.
Wow.
But let's not forget about the other factors involved in respiratory control.
Right.
Oxygen and pH also play important roles, even though they're secondary to carbon dioxide under normal circumstances.
Right. We talked about those as well. The oxygen sensors act as a backup system, kicking in if oxygen levels get dangerously low.
Right.
And the pH sensors in the brainstem help to fine-tune our breathing by monitoring the acidity of the cerebrospinal fluid.
Exactly. It's like having multiple layers of control to make sure our breathing is always perfectly calibrated to our body's needs. It's a remarkable system, don't you think?
Absolutely. It makes me appreciate the simple act of breathing in a whole new way.
Yeah.
I mean, we do it thousands of times a day without even thinking about it. But behind the scenes, there's this incredible symphony of signals and responses happening to keep us alive and thriving.
I agree. It's a beautiful example of how all the different systems in our bodies work together seamlessly.
This deep dive has been so insightful. I feel like I've gained a whole new appreciation for my lungs and the amazing process of respiration.
I'm glad.
It's more than just breathing. It's a vital process that touches every aspect of our health and well-being.
I agree. And remember, understanding how our bodies work can empower us to make healthier choices.
Yeah,
We can protect our lungs by avoiding smoking and exposure to pollutants
true.
and appreciate the interconnectedness of all our bodily systems.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into respiration. I hope you've learned something new and interesting. Until next time, keep breathing and take care of those amazing lungs of yours.
We were just talking about how our brainstem acts as this incredible control center,
Yay.
constantly receiving information about our oxygen and carbon dioxide levels and the pH of our cerebrospinal fluid.
Yes, and remember those chemoreceptors we talked about?
Yeah.
They're the key players in the system.
Okay.
They're like tiny sensors,
Yeah.
constantly monitoring our blood and cerebrospinal fluid and sending signals back to the brainstem.
So if the chemoreceptors detect a change in, say, carbon dioxide levels,
Right.
they'll alert the brainstem, and then the brainstem will adjust our breathing accordingly.
Exactly. It's a beautifully efficient feedback loop.
Okay.
Let's imagine you're exercising.
Okay.
As your muscles work harder,
Yeah.
they produce more carbon dioxide.
Makes sense.
This increase in carbon dioxide is detected by the chemoreceptors, which send a signal to the brainstem.
The brainstem then sends signals to the muscles involved in breathing, telling them to work harder and increasing your breathing rate and depth.
So you start breathing faster and more deeply to get rid of that excess carbon dioxide and keep up with the demands of your muscles.
Exactly.
It's like your body knows exactly what to do to keep everything balanced.
It really is, and it all happens without us even having to think about it.
Yeah.
It's a testament to the incredible power of our autonomic nervous system.
But let's not forget about the other factors involved in respiratory control.
Right, oxygen and pH also play important roles,
Right.
even though they're secondary to carbon dioxide under normal circumstances.
Right, we talked about those as well. The oxygen sensors act as a backup system kicking in if oxygen levels get dangerously low,
Yeah.
and the pH sensors in the brainstem help to fine-tune our breathing by monitoring the acidity of the cerebrospinal fluid.
Exactly. It's like having multiple layers of control
Yeah.
to make sure our breathing is always perfectly calibrated to our body's needs. It's a remarkable system, don't you think?
It really is. It makes me appreciate the simple act of breathing in a whole new way. I mean, we do it thousands of times a day without even thinking about it. But behind the scenes, there's this incredible symphony of signals and responses happening to keep us alive and thriving.
I agree. It's a beautiful example of how all the different systems in our bodies work together seamlessly.
This deep dive has been so insightful. I feel like I've gained a whole new appreciation for my lungs and the amazing process of respiration. It's more than just breathing. It's a vital process that touches every aspect of our health and well-being.
I'm glad to hear that. And remember, understanding how our bodies work can empower us to make healthier choices.
Yeah.
We can protect our lungs by avoiding smoking and exposure to pollutants and appreciate the interconnectedness of all our bodily systems.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into respiration. I hope you've learned something new and interesting. Until next time, keep breathing and take care of those amazing lungs of yours.